For our last, this is our last lesson in this relationship series. This is number 4 in our relationship series, and in the close of this relationship series, I told my parents that we have discussed a multitude of things. We've discussed a multitude of things with relationships, but tonight, as we close out, Cherie, tonight as we close out, Savannah, and Savannah would have called in, but we still having a little technical difficulties. So hey Savannah and CJ and Calvin and Celia and Naya, I had a dream. Ma. We was about to have a 5th child. Savannah told me I lost my mind. I said, yeah, I definitely have lost my mind. Oh, I definitely lost my mind. I'm going to say like Biggie, it was all a dream. Okay, all right. Back to the lesson. Y'all know Biggie. Don't y'all look at me like that. Y'all know Biggie, give me one more chance. Biggie, give me. Okay. All right. I love when y'all know what I'm talking about. You try to act like you don't. Okay. Tonight what we are discussing, I could not close out this relationship series without making this our final topic. And this is, so our last topic for tonight as we discuss relationships is this. It's all about me. It's all about me. Here's the preface from the outset of, well, you know what? Let me explain it this way. I want you to make a list, at least in your head, or if you have a sheet of paper, I want you to actually write it on a sheet of paper. For those of you who are part of our Connected Campus, I'm not leaving you out. You go ahead and grab you a sheet of paper, jot it in your phone. I want you to make a list of the characteristics of that you look for somebody to have that you're going to be in a relationship with. I want you to make a list. It doesn't have to be a long list. It could just be 4 or 5 things. But I want you to make a list of some of the things that you look for to be in relationship with somebody. When I say relationship, that is romantic, that is friendship, that is, any healthy relationship that you want to have. What are some characteristics that you look for in a person to have? I don't care. I'm not talking about physical stuff. That ain't the kind of characteristics I'm talking about. I'm not talking about tall, dark, and handsome. I'm talking about characteristics that have nothing to do with the aesthetics. So what do you look for outside of a look or a height or any of those other kind of things? Are you getting your list? Are you formulating your list? Connected Campus, are you formulating your list? I need you to get your list together, get it on paper, get it in your mind, get it in your heart, get it in your spirit, get it in all of those things. And now I need you, if you don't mind, does anybody mind sharing something that they look for in a healthy relationship, in a healthy dynamic relationship? Honesty, perfect. Yes, sir. Trustworthy, perfect. Thoughtful, perfect. Consistent, perfect. Kindness, perfect. Christian, perfect. Humility, perfect. Respect, perfect. Is that positive attitude, perfect. And I believe there's one last one here. Patience, perfect. Those are all wonderful. And I see in our Connected Campus, honesty, save, good lister, a giving heart, another consistent, friendly. Yes, of course, I want to be friendly. All these things. Listen, I want you to look at your list, whether it is the one you have written down or whether it is the one that you have in your mind. I want you to get that list in your head. And this is what I want you to do. How many of those things will somebody find in you? Could it be that while we are looking for relationships, We are searching for dynamics in others that we don't bring to the table ourselves. See, our closing conversation about relationships is not going to be about other people. Our closing conversation about relationships is going to be about ourselves. The question is, would you want to date you? The question is, would you want to marry you? Okay. The question is, would you want to live, move in with, fall in love, have children with? Would you want to work with? Yeah, let me bet. Would you want to work with you? Would you want to be family members with you? See, the last dynamic we have to discuss in relationships is not the outward look, but the inward look. And that's why I told you that we weren't going to do the descriptive terms of how somebody looks. Tall, short, like me, obviously works out a lot. All those things. We weren't going to get into that. Because what matters the most, well, I love to see how y'all smile when I talk about my lack of working out. What matters the most is none of those things. What matters the most is the inside. Listen, Matthew chapter 23, verse 4 is one of my favorite chapters of the gospel. Jesus takes an entire chapter describing what a hypocrite is. But I'll just lift up one verse here. It says, talking about hypocrites, it says, once again, that's Matthew chapter 23 and verse 4. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 4. You ever wonder how somebody can put up with you? Okay, you know what? I'm going to put a pin in that question and circle back to it. Matthew 23 and 4, it says, they tie up heavy burdens. These are talking about hypocrites that are hard to bear and lay them on the shoulders of others, but they themselves are unwilling to lift a finger to do that same thing. That means that the definition of a hypocrite is somebody that is requiring something of others that they are not willing to do themselves. When I talk to the leadership of Lewis Chapel, one thing that they know I say often is, I don't ask you to do anything I'm not doing myself. When I say you need to be in Bible study in order to be a leader at Lewis Chapel, I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not doing myself. When I ask you to be consistent at church, I'm not asking you to do anything I have not first done myself. See, the real question is, would you want to be with you? If you ever watched a house being made, or even a building being made, you notice that the frame goes up quick. They build a frame quick. That outside structure, they build that outside structure quick. Then after they build that outside structure, put up those walls, put on that roof, then it take a couple of months after that. Because the outside is the easiest part to work on. It's all that inside stuff that takes the longest construction process. Which is why, once again, when I ask you to put down what a healthy relationship characteristic is, I could care less about the outside. It is the inside. It is those things. It are those things that are, the litmus test. Yeah, Roy, I forgot. The litmus test. That becomes the litmus test for who you want to be with and who wants to be around you. The litmus test is not those outside things. The litmus test is the inside character. The inside character. That becomes the litmus test for how we build and create our relationships. Now, after the litmus test comes, next, Roy, designer DNA. That's That's what comes up next. Designer DNA. I know you're like, okay, so what's designer DNA? Let me ask you the next question. Let me ask you the next question. We're talking about designer DNA, because I know we have some fashionistas here. Do I have any fashionistas in the house? Don't y'all? I know we got some fashionistas in the house. They can put it together. No, okay. Connect the cameras. They leave them hanging in here. Do I have any fashionistas out there that don't mind throwing their hand up and saying, that's me? I can put me an outfit together. So, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite pattern? Or you can take it down, Roy. Do you have a favorite pattern? Like polka dot or stripes or plaid or animal print? Here's the question. Can you wear two separate animal prints together? Like leopard and, I don't know, what would you, leopard and zebra? Can you do that? Can you put leopard and zebra together? Yeah. Okay. There's a pattern called brocade. I don't know. Listen, listen. I have gone past. I'm in over my head now with this. There are over 23 different design patterns there. One called brocade. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that before, but I didn't know it had a name. It was like brocade, damask, and I was like, I thought that's what we've been wearing during the pandemic, but no, apparently damask is If y'all fashion people, you would appreciate it. That joke. That was a good one. That was a good one. So y'all praying for me. Y'all praying for me. Okay. All right. Part of our DNA, part of human DNA is not only do we love to wear patterns, we live in patterns. Our relationships fall into patterns. Some of these patterns are healthy. Just because it's a pattern does not automatically mean it is an unhealthy pattern. Some of the patterns we have are healthy. But what I have discovered in my own relationship and in talking to others about their relationship and in reading is that unhealthy relationship patterns often form with no communication. They just happen. It's just something that happens over time. The healthy ones you have to be actively engaging in. But the unhealthy ones, they happen and you never even had a conversation about it. It just became the way of the relationship. So you find patterns in all of our relationship. We have phone call patterns. You know about how many times somebody's going to call. You know about how many times your friend is going to call. Some of you have friends, you talk often. Some of you have friends, you talk every now and then. Some of you, sometimes your friend calls, you both know you're not going to answer, but you're going to text back. It's a pattern. We got designer DNA. We fall into patterns. You have a bedtime pattern. You have, in relationships, argument patterns. Patterns of arguments. And this is how patterns in relationship dynamics play out in the negative, unspoken way. All right. So if I don't like something my wife did, said, whatever, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna talk to her. I'm gonna just walk around the house, and I'm gonna just, you know how people are. They can walk around the house huffing and puffing. You know, brothers, you ask what's wrong, and they like nothing, but it's obviously something. Brothers ain't say nothing. It's like, I ain't falling for that, Pastor. No, you almost got me, but no. She's sitting right here. Talk to me later. I can't agree with that right now. Yeah, she's right here. She's right here. Talk to me later. I ain't looking at anybody. I'm looking right at the screen right there. I'm looking right at the screen right there. I haven't made eye contact with anybody in here. So this is how patterns form, y'all. So I'm not going to say anything to her. And she's like, well, you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to say anything to him. So we don't talk for an hour. And then the next time, I'm like, you know what? The hour wasn't good enough because apparently it didn't make my point. So now we're not going to talk for a day. And now not only have we not talked for a day, now the next time we get into a disagreement or argument, whatever you want to call it, we're not talking for days now. And those days turn to a week. That week turns into a month, and that month turns into we just roommates, don't even talk anymore. Every last one of us, particularly and I'm going to say this particularly for our romantic relationships, have to be intentional about the patterns we allow to form in our relationships. Those relationship patterns, particularly the ones that every pattern of your relationship is a pattern you allow to happen. Even if you're like, well, they the ones that walk around with an attitude of this and that. It take two people to tango. And some of us been tangoing real good. And it's easy to fall into negative relationship patterns. If somebody, lean in, child of God, lean in. If you have not talked to the person in your house for some time, regardless of whose fault it is, I know I done lost somebody right there already. Regardless of whose fault it is, all I need you to do, if it's true, because I don't want nobody lying, all I want you to do is the next time you see them, just tell them you love them. That's it. You ain't got to start no conversation. You don't have to start a conversation. You don't have to start a conversation. It don't have to be whatever. But remember something I said from the outset. Things didn't get broken in one conversation, and they're not going to get fixed in one. But if you want to break a negative pattern in your relationship, you have to be intentional about the patterns that you start. And it's amazing the patterns of treatment we have for people that we are supposedly love. Because we start doubling down. Oh, you going to double down? I'm going to double down. Oh, you not going to do? Well, I'm not going to do. Oh, well, you not going to say? I'm not going to say. And next thing you know, we in this big, negative, constantly evolving pattern of negativity. You ain't got to say a whole lot. But if you haven't spoken to them in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a whatever it is, if it's true, I don't want nobody lying. If it's still true, the only thing I'm asking you to do is just say, I love you. And if you're not ready to have a conversation after that, that's fine. You can be like, listen, I ain't really ready to have a conversation right now, but I did want to say that regardless of what's going on, I do still love you. Now for right now, I still need you to get out my face. But I do love you, though. It's got to start somewhere, y'all. It's got to start somewhere. You create patterns, y'all. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17. Pray without ceasing. You know what that is? That is being intentional about creating a spiritual pattern in your life. You have to be intentional about the patterns you create in your life. Almost every night, I pray with my wife. I pray with my sons, and I pray with my daughters. It is a pattern that I want to establish in my household. So I do it every night. Almost. Because you're either intentional about the patterns you're in, or you're not intentional. Either way it goes, your life is going to be living in a pattern. So if I'm living in a pattern, I might as well be intentional about the pattern I'm in so that I can be pleased with the pattern I'm in. And even more important, so that God can be pleased with my life. All right. That's right. Listen, if you here with somebody you love, just go ahead and tell them right now. Not even because you're beefing or anything like that. Just because you love them, just tell them I love you. I love you. Savannah, I love you. Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. Cherie, Clint, I love you. Because that's the other thing. Well, I'm not going to go down that road. Okay, party time, Roy, party time. Remember, we're talking about, it's all about me, knowing yourself. What makes a good party? You know what? I don't even know I'm asking all this. Y'all going to act like you never been to one. I don't even know I'm asking this. I know you've never been to anything except a Holy Ghost party. Drinks, music, dancing, all those other kind of things. Thank you, Roy. All those other kind of things. So with party time, listen. Most of us throw either a pity party when we're thinking about ourselves, or we throw a celebratory party just thinking about how great we are. That's why when people don't like us, we don't get it, and we think it's always them. Because after all, how can somebody not like us as wonderful as we are? Anybody that doesn't like me, it got to be something wrong with you. This is what I have said. So we throw pity parties, we throw celebratory parties where we pat ourselves on the back. But this is how you know you're really having a healthy look at yourself. When you see something about you that causes you to say, "Ooh, I don't like that about me. I got to work on that." And let me remind you, I'm not talking about what's on the outside. That's why some of us know, wait, hold on, I don't want to get ahead. No, that's why some of us know what we weigh, but don't know what we're worth. Because when we examine ourselves, if we're not patting ourselves on the back and we're looking for improvement on a scale. We're looking for improvement in our clothes. We're looking for improvement in our house. That's why many of us know our weight but don't know our worth. Sometimes you got to have a real look at yourself and just say, what areas do I need to work on? Which takes me back to that original question. Would you want to date you? You know what? Let me put it this way. Would you want to deal with your attitude? Would you want to deal with your temper? Would you want to deal with your level of forgiveness? Would you want to be in a relationship with somebody that spends money like you? When you examine your life, would you want to be with somebody that talks to people like you talk to people? And if your answer to that is, that's just the way I am, That's why we believe in Jesus. Because we don't come to Jesus to stay as we are. We come to Jesus to change, and a wonderful change has come over me. And once again, I'm not talking about my weight. I'm talking about my worth. Matthew chapter 16 and verse 13. Matthew chapter 16 and verse 13. Now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? Because people will say who you are, but do you know who you are? Have you given your own examination of who you are? I know you can throw a pity party when it's party time, and I know you can throw a celebratory party because you're so great and wonderful, but can you take a look at your life and see the areas that you need improvement and work on? Last but not least, Roy, too old for that. Too old for that. And this will be the last thing that I discuss as I close out this series on relationships. You see wine there. When I hear wine, I still thinking that South Carolina song there, drinking other wine, wine, drinking other wine, that holy wine. You ought to have been there 10,000 years drinking of the wine. Let me tell y'all something about church people. You can take it down. Y'all get tight about weird stuff. You ought to see how tight people get just because I said the word wine. What is the big deal? You got wine in your refrigerator. You eat it, you drink it with your dinner. So what? So what? Jesus sat down and drank wine. Wine is not sinful. Overindulgence in it is. Like, come on, y'all. Let's be adults about stuff. Y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to stop this. Get you a little chilled Cabernet, whatever. I don't know. Wine ain't my thing, but I mean, let's stop being children about adult stuff, y'all. That's why people don't fool with the church. Because we drawing up talking about something as simple as wine. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I had a good sermon. It was talking about old wine and new wine skins. Church was tight the whole time because wine was the main subject. We got to stop this, y'all. We got to stop this. It's ridiculous. What was I saying? Oh, right. Too old for that. So, wine ages well, right? Matter of fact, Roy, throw that picture up one more time for me for a couple of seconds. And what do you see beside that wine? Don't age the same, does it? Some of our relationship issues. Some of our relationship issues, y'all. We thought it was going to, instead of aging like wine, it has aged like milk. I got to get out of here. Let me tell you something. Lean in one last time. Lean in one last time. Brother Rogers, I'm trying to turn that off, but I think it's about to go dead, so we'll have to change the battery in it. Lean in one last time. Okay, all right. Okay, it's going to be the last one, and we out of here. Okay. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with somebody carrying around a whole lot of baggage. Nobody. They'll deal with it because they love you. But your baggage is ruining relationships. And it could be that's why you can't find another good one, Because as soon as you try to go into a new one, you dragging all your old baggage along with you. Baggage does not age like wine. Baggage ages like milk. It turns sour, and it causes you to be sour. You look sour. I ain't gonna say you smell sour. I won't put that on them. I ain't gonna put that on them. We gotta go. You act sour. You look sour. Go into your relationships, maintain your relationships, and try to have as little baggage as you possibly can. That goes back to that pattern of making sure you're not carrying stuff from day to day. That don't mean you're going to be able to resolve everything as soon as it happens, but it means that you work, that your relationships, your friendships, those co-worker dynamics and all those other kind of things, that you want them to get better as time goes by, not worse as time goes by. And with that, I close this series of relationships, and the church said, amen. Amen. Amen.